Greetings, Guru DP, Anna _Luna, Mr. Jinx 57, Zaylil _AP, Izzy Khalid. Hello. Where are all of y'all? Where are you tuning in from? Like, who are you? Where are you tuning in from? I'm interested. I want to know. 79. Ooh, that was the year I was born. That was a great year. That was a great year. You from Georgia. That's what I'm talking about. Down south. You down here with me in the south. Atlantis, right? You know, a piece of Atlantis is connected to Georgia, baby. Ashe, who's this? King Ton 233. Greetings to you. Did you follow me or something? That's awesome. I'm still learning TikTok, y'all. So I'm not a social media person whatsoever. I only get on here when I'm inspired. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people. Come on in, come on in. Florida, that's what I'm talking about. Florida. You know, Florida is also has a lot of African energy, a lot of motherland energy in Florida. One of my favorite places to visit. I wouldn't mind living there, but y'all hurricanes, you know, the ancestors be cutting up with them hurricanes. That's why they be naming them. They need to start naming them Lil Poo Poo, Nene, because them the ancestors staring up. So much happened in those waters. That rage and energy. Mississippi, that's what I'm talking about. M-I, cricket letter, I, cricket letter, I, P-P-I. Y'all don't know about that shit, huh? Greetings to you. Oh, thank you. The only Kubara. I love that. You are gorgeous as well. As Erica says, honey, it ain't none of this, honey. It's the energy, because I transcend all of this shit. I be saying that shit. It's funny. I never posted it, but I be saying that shit. Okay, y'all. So here we go. Nappy hair and all. We finna get it done, because I have a point to make. Okay? I got a message for you. I got a message for everybody here. Look. It don't matter what spiritual path you are on, where you are on your journey, who you are, and what you're dealing with and what you're going through. If this applies to you, make sure you give me some hearts and some donations, because it helps me to continue doing what I do. I do so much. I have 5 courses that I marked them down so that everybody in the world gets to experience the Akashic energy that in which I work. I work with the ethers. I work with the 5th element. So I really don't need cards and tools and crystals and things like that, but I use them because it conserves my own energy, and it allows me to be oneness with the things that Spirit, the Creator, gave us to assist us in this journey. And I just want to start off by saying to you, it's Monday. Monday is Moon Day. And for a lot of people, this day is a rough day, because a lot of people going back to work on Monday. They're going to school, and they're probably doing things that you really don't resonate with anymore. So I want to say this to you. I kind of want to start off with some heaviness, and then we'll lighten it up as we go. Okay, I have a few minutes, and I wanted to just share a few minutes of what was coming for me, because it was extremely motivational for me. First of all, I want to start off by saying I am someone who was born with sickle cell anemia, and if you know a little about it or nothing about it, it is a red blood cell disease. It's a disorder where my blood does not create enough oxygen. It loses oxygen, and my red blood cells are not circles. They turn into sickles, kind of like boomerangs. And they get tangled up anywhere in the body at any point in time. And most of the time, it happens to me every day. I have pain from a scale of 4 to 9, almost every day of my life. I wake up with it. I eat an alkaline diet, plant-based diet. I've tried it all. I've worked with several practitioners, and I'm still in the process of doing a lot of things that are healing for me. I wanted to start off by saying that so that I could let you know it don't matter what obstacles life gave you. Those obstacles were not meant to stop you. They were meant to inspire you. And I feel like a lot of us get stuck on feeling like we need to feel perfect to be able to do things and execute and make plans and take steps to be the person we want to be. So I want to start off by being extremely vulnerable and just say, hello, my name is Gangsta the Oracle, and I was born with a whole lot of different disabilities, limitations, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, born into the family that has so much dysfunction on both sides of my family. I have experienced molestation. I have been raped. I have been drugged and raped. I've been through so many things, and so I feel like my purpose here on this planet is for people to see, like, you don't have to identify with your suffering. You don't have to identify with your story. That story got you to this point, but that story is not going to take you where it is that you desire to go. So for a lot of us, we get stuck on those things when we're waiting on the perfect moment to do things. And we think, when I get that money, I'll be able to do this. Or when I get healthier, I'll be able to do this. Or when I get some people to support me, I'll be able to do this. Or when I get this degree, I'll be able to do this. I don't have any fucking degrees at all. I started my own business. I started my own business after I had died 2 times. I lived in the hospital. I was in the hospital almost every month of the year for most of my life, from age 25 up until 36. So in 2016, I decided I didn't want to be in the hospital anymore. And that was 1 year after I lost my baby sister to lupus. And just watching that whole experience play out in front of me, I came to a strong realization, which was I'm not stopping. I'm not dimming my light. I'm not giving up on myself, and I don't need money to do it. I don't need support from anybody outside of me to do it. I don't need none of that shit. All I need is breath in my body. And as long as I got breath in my body, I'm everything that I need. And I will do everything that I had came here to do. And you know, and so it's a mindset that you want to nurture, and you want to talk to yourself more. A lot of us are not doing what we was put here to do, and we think that all of those external reasons is why we're not doing it. And it's really not the reason. The reason is you probably have blockages. You probably have unhealed trauma. You probably have a difficult time receiving help. If you have a difficult time receiving help from people because you got trust issues, you've been betrayed before, maybe you have childhood trauma, like most of us do. Everybody on this planet experienced some form of trauma. You know, nobody is excluded from this. This is what we come to Earth to do. Earth is the school where you come to have the tough experiences. Earth is kind of like the Marine Corps of the galaxy, and we come here to have these tough experiences, and we have labeled these experiences as obstacles, problems, trauma, suffering, and it's not any of that. When you see through the illusion, and when you are working with your third eye, you begin to see any limitations, any disabilities, any blockages as opportunities. All problems are opportunities for you to create a solution. And that solution may not just help you. It may help a lot of other people. But if you are afraid to share who you are, if you are afraid to open up and receive, the universe cannot give you the things that you have been calling for into your reality because you're closed and you're too afraid. And I get it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be afraid. What I'm saying to you is feel the fear, but do it anyway. Whatever it is, feel the fear and take it with you. Take it with you. I was so afraid. Everything that I do now, I was so fucking afraid that I was paralyzed. I couldn't make a decision. I stayed in a relationship that was killing me and draining me because I was afraid to make a decision. And that's not a way for us to live. We're not supposed to live like that. And I am proof that you don't have to have it all together. You don't have to have everything that everybody else had to have to do what they did. People told me I needed to go to school to be certified to do what I do. And I didn't have to do any of that because my path was my own. My path is what I create. And one of the main things that's really been hitting me lately is that the real pandemic is the pandemic of a lack of self-love. And, you know, a lot of people talk about self-love, but self-love does not come easy. Self-love takes work, and it takes courage, and it takes... If fear is what's stopping you from moving forward, it's likely that you are deficient in self-love. Because when you're able to love yourself, and I'm going to unpack this just a little bit, but when you're able to love yourself, you can feel the fear and do it anyway. You could have people who have a completely different belief system than you. You may not know anybody that believe in what you believe in, or studying the things that you are studying, or applying spiritual principles that you are applying. And you'll be like, but I love me so much. I feel the fear, and I know that people might reject me. They might judge me. They might criticize me. But this is what I feel. Love inside of me is here for and to do, which was for me to be my authentic self. And unfortunately, many of us are born into situations where your authentic self, it was dangerous to be your authentic self. If you were a kid and you were a really, really loving, compassionate kid and very sensitive to energy, 9 times out of 10, you got told that you was weak. You needed to toughen up. You need to stop crying so much. You need to stop being so emotional, stop being overdramatic. I was like that. And because people treated me like being sensitive was a fucking disease, I just became numb and hard and went into toxic masculine energy. And I passed that on to my oldest daughter because it was the only way I knew how to parent. So what happens is when we have children on the planet, we try to force them to be clones of us. And so whether you are a parent or just are a child of a parent or whoever raised you, we didn't really have the higher consciousness to parent from a more conscious way. So a lot of times our attempt to parent actually was damaging. But the beauty in that is that's the shit that made you who you are. Those are the experiences that made you realize who you wanted to be and who you do not want to be. So, you know, for today, for this Monday motivational message that I'm sharing with you for today, because we do have a full moon coming up. And with full moon energy, that energy impacts us. That's why a lot of women go in labor when the moon is full. That's why the jails be full when the moon is full, because it's high emotional energy. The moon represents the feminine energy, but it also represents that part of you that's unconscious and subconscious. So if you are dealing with fear and you have a hard time loving yourself because maybe you have been told that this was wrong with you and that's bad about you and you shouldn't do that, and having self-love shows up as I'm going to do what's best for me, no matter what nobody else thinks. And everybody not going to be for the long haul. They're not supposed to be for the long haul. We got to be okay with that. We got to be willing to walk the path by ourselves if that's what we got to do. When you have self-love, you can walk by yourself because guess what? You are your own ally. You are no longer your own worst enemy. Most of us think that our external circumstances is the issue, but the true issue is that it's us against us, and we haven't realized that we are our only enemy. I don't have haters. I am my only hater. Nobody hates me. You feel me? In my consciousness, it serves me. It does me no benefit to believe that people hate me, right? So instead of shifting my focus on the outside and who don't like the way that I move and who don't like what I do, instead of looking at all of that, I focus on, but how do I feel about me, right? And if I find an area where I don't feel well about myself, then I cultivate that area and I work on that area. And so this is the courses that I create are from that space. It's radical self-love. Self-love is not loving the parts of you that everybody else like. It's loving the parts of you that people probably fucking don't like about you. When you can love that part of you, that's self-love. Until you've done that, it's pseudo-love. And the pseudo self-love movement is what is really slowing down the people who are here to create a paradigm shift. We are here to create new belief systems, to create new energy, new frequency, new vibrations, new movements on the planet. It's things that you can do that nobody else can do. But as long as you are trying to walk your path and on eggshells and ice, tiptoeing, afraid to offend or hurt anybody, you are abandoning your own self. You are betraying your own self. And what happens is you begin to distrust your ability to make decisions. You don't trust yourself. So for me, everything in my life comes from a space of my intuition and my heart. I don't weigh it with my logic. I don't make logical decisions. They are very rare. And most people have said to me, it don't make sense for you to not use logic and reason for your decisions. I beg to differ. Because if my mind has not been healthy to have a mindset to cultivate where I'm going, I can't trust my reason and my logic because I'm filtering it through my hurt feelings. But my heart, The heart that has been broken over and over and over again, that's still beating in my chest, it's not just a physical part of me. That's my GPS system for my soul. So I listen to my heart. I tune into, what does my heart say? How do I feel? And guess what? I love me so much, I'm willing to risk people walking out of my life so that I do not abandon myself. The worst feeling in the world is to look at yourself in the mirror and not love what is looking back at you. No person in this world has more power over you than you. Your own perception of you should be the main measure that you use for your own path. You cannot depend on people to support you. And it don't mean that they don't love you. But we love from our level of consciousness. And if you are resonating with me, and if you already know who I am, maybe you in some of our courses and you already know what it is, I dig deep. Like, it's no shallow surface shit. I'm going straight to the root about everything. And that's why it makes some people uncomfortable. You see? So when you are walking the path of authenticity, your vibration will make some people uncomfortable, but that's beautiful because that's how we grow. If you're not challenged, you're not going to grow. And I'm telling y'all, your abundance is inside of you in the form of breath. It is nothing else. Until you get to the point where you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, as long as I got breath in my body, I got every motherfucking thing that I need, and nothing will ever stop me from doing what my soul is here to do. Can you just say this with me? As long as breath is in my body, I have every motherfucking thing that I need, and no one would be able to stop me from doing what I am here to do, except you. You're the only one that can stop you. On the other side of that, the energy that is coming to the planet right now to help us, those of us who are ready to shed these stories and these narratives and the things that we attracted into our lives that are a reflection of that. You know when you are done with something. You know when some shit just ain't in alignment with you no more. You know, and you feel it. And sometimes you don't know what to do about it. You don't know how to shift the situation without making the situation so unstable. It's chaotic for absolutely no reason. It's not benefiting nobody, right? And a lot of times we do that because we make decisions in urgency. We make decisions out of a place of fear. So if you're feeling desperate for money, 9 times out of 10, the decisions that you make about money, you might think is logical and reasonable, but I can guarantee you that that emotion is going to attach to whatever you attract. So you may get the money, you may get the clients, you may get the contracts if you're a contractor, if you're an entrepreneur, you may get the job, but the energy attached to that money will be some shit that will keep you trapped in a cycle of things that are beneath your worth. And we are shedding that. This full moon is coming in to bring a harvest, but are you ready to receive? Or are your hands still full of other people's perceptions that you have taken on to yourself, your childhood condition that you have believed about yourself, and that is ultimately what's blocking your quote unquote blessings, okay? You must know that you are more powerful than anything happening in your environment. And I know it feels the opposite. I know every day that I wake up and feel pain in my body, and I know I'm doing the work. I know that I'm putting in 100% with all that I have. But I had to realize I need to detach from the external outcome of this, because this ain't even about that. This is about the journey. This is about the fact that I get up every day and I work, I homeschool, I don't have a boss, I don't have nobody watching over me, making sure that I do the work. I'm self-motivated, I'm self-inspired, and that's why when people interact with me, they feel more passion, they feel more motivated, they feel more inspired, and even better, if I make you feel all types of uncomfortable, that's a beautiful space to be in. That means that you're experiencing a frequency and it's causing a cognitive dissonance, and your mind can't really make sense of it. And it's like, I feel this, but my mind and my logic, and some people will go and look at my Instagram, my YouTube, and they're like, oh my gosh, she a witch, or oh, she into some devil stuff, right? And it's really interesting how we will perceive these negative things about people, and we don't even know their story. We don't even know them, right? All of these things will keep you in a cycle of repeating these hellish ass loops of experiences that you have outgrown. You cannot wear shoes that you have outgrown. Take the shoes off today. Be done today. You have to decide who you are, who you allow in your life, who you share your energy with, who you share your body with, who you share your conversation with, and you must be choosy. You must be a choosy lover. You must be a choosy lover. So choosy where you find yourself spending more time alone than in gatherings and outings and parties and with people and brunch and lunch. I'm telling you, that shit is an illusion. Because a lot of people, if they did not have their social life, they would not feel worthy. They would not feel valuable, the best things in life. And so sometimes those things act as a crutch. Not all the time, but sometimes those things are a crutch. Most of us just need to spend more time alone with ourselves in silence, without the devices, without the TV. These frequencies that's coming out of the TVs and the devices is challenging us. It's challenging us. You can be happy and get depressed just because of some shit that popped up on your feed, or just because of a text message that you got early that morning. You must decide, I'm not going to let these messages and whatever's coming from the outside of me, I'm not going to let it control how I feel. Because when you allow external situations, people, places, and things to control the way that you feel, you give all of your power away to that person, place, or thing. And then the side effect of that is that you feel like shit. And you can't even put a finger on why. Because most of us have not studied energy. Most of us have not taken the time to study energy. And for those of us that have studied energy, I've been studying energy for many, many years. I've really been like this my whole life. But I was a highly sensitive person and an empath with the wounded child archetype of being a rescuer. And I wanted to rescue everybody. Anybody that came into my life who was going through something, I would slit my own throat if that's what was necessary to take care of them. And it was because of my conditioning. Because I was conditioned to believe that the only way that I was lovable is if I was meeting everybody else's needs. And so many of us, we feel that. So as an empath, I'm going to be creating a survival guide for highly sensitive persons and empaths. Because this world, as it is right now, is very violent and aggressive to empaths, to people who are sensitive to energy. And that's intentional, but we don't have to focus on that. We don't have to major on the minor. There's always going to be something that is a current of energy going against what it is that you're doing. But just like resistance bands, you get stronger with each time that you pull that resistant band, right? You get stronger, you get more resilient, you get more mentally resilient. For those of you who have people in your lives and it's challenging as fuck to deal with these people, it don't matter who it is. If you go into it with a healthy mindset, your energy will change. And I had to accept the fact that as painful as it was, I had only created my own problems by not tending to my own needs. It had nothing to do with nobody that was ever in my life. It was all me. And by me accepting that level of accountability, even if I couldn't quite figure out how I attracted a molester at the age 7, like how the fuck do you attract that, right? I don't need to figure it out. The point is, I survived it. And not only did I survive it, but I have touched thousands and thousands of people who have been able to transcend their trauma and have soul sovereignty and create a life that's based on their heart that's based on their soul's essence of what it is here to do. So if you perceive the challenging things as nothing but a problem, that's all that it will ever be, because that's the power of your own perception. So don't change the exterior. Work on your perception. Work on your energy. Work on your frequency, your vibration. How are you showing up? What do you do? What is your routine every day? You know, when you get up, what's the first thing that you do? First thing that I do is give Gangsta gratitude. Gangsta gratitude means I might wake up with a migraine and I'm throwing up over the toilet. And in the middle of wiping my mouth, Gangsta gratitude for life in my body. That's the shit. That's real shit right there. That's the shit that we feel. That's what we live for. That's what set us on fire. Kevin Hart got famous because he figured out a way to transcend his trauma and allow people to laugh at his pain. Red Fox. Let's go back to the greats before the kings of comedy, right? The gods of comedy, the greats. They were able to laugh at their own pain and transcend their trauma. And this is why in all of our podcasts and in most of my courses, like you gonna feel like we just kicking it. And we going through the spiritual awakening together. And I create jokes about shit that most people be like, you know, you really shouldn't joke about that. But I'm like, no, maybe you really should. Because if you lose the ability to have humor and laughter, there is nothing left for you but fear, depression, desperation, and strife. Sometimes just laughter is medicine for the soul. Why do you think in schools laughing was something that was so forbidden? That shit was like being in a Nazi camp, right? So that's by design. Laugh. If you can't do nothing else, find something to laugh at. You know? So that was one thing that I wanted to share with you, is just practice being grateful. Like as soon as your eyes open, I don't care what your eyes open to. Your eyes might open to a spouse who been cheating on you, and they packing and they on their way out the door. And as much as it might hurt, and as much as you may not know how I'm gonna pay bills, you know, gangster gratitude, that means this gratitude is not conditional. Gangster gratitude is unconditional. That's what makes it gangster. So I'm gonna tell y'all something. A real gangster is somebody who don't let other people tell them how to live their life and what to do. And a lot of the music that's being put out now, and people brag about crimes and shit that they did, it's nothing gangster about none of that shit. That's some of the weakest shit ever. That's some weak ass shit. That's clown shit. Why would you brag about murdering people who look like you? It makes no fucking sense. It's insanity, right? But as long as we are creating the insanity by vibing with that shit, then we're inviting the insanity into our own lives. When you can be grateful for life no matter how it shows up, that's gangster. When you can love yourself even though a lot of the things about you really don't like, that's gangster. When you can look at the people who hurt you and abuse you and talk down on you and crazy to you, and maybe you got a boss at work and always taking you through hell, and you can be like, I got gangster gratitude. I'm starting to get what Campson is talking about. I got gangster gratitude for this, because having a boss like this, that shit making me boss up. Because when I get off work, I'm finding something positive. I'm finding something that's going to be nourishing for my soul, going to soothe me, right? Maybe you learned about Palo Santo or Sage. You like, let me learn about spiritual hygiene. It's because of the negative experiences that spirituality even exists. And as long as we give our power away by not being accountable for the things that show up in our life, you are going to feel powerless. And that is one of the most dangerous things that you can do right now. Listen to me. Do not allow yourself to continue to leak your power out because your perception is something that is not supporting you. People outside of you 9 times out of 10 will not change. This world is not going to change overnight. But don't be attached to the external. Don't be attached to the outcome. You focus on what's within you. That's all that matters. Anybody in this world that ever did anything great that we ever read about or looked up to was because they went against the grain. They listened to their heart and they walked their path in authenticity. But in order for you to maintain having that sense of self, you must figure out who I am, who I don't want to be, where I'm going, and where I don't want to go. And then you make micro goals. I have a blog on the website at newverselive.com about micro goals. This is how I was able to have all of these physical issues and still get shit done, because I create micro goals. I don't allow my ego to get in the mix, and I create goals so big that I sabotage myself, because honestly, I didn't feel like I was worthy or good enough or valuable enough to attain that thing that I said I wanted. So I wouldn't reach my goals. But if you baby step and micro goal yourself and just start off with being grateful for the breath in your body, I guarantee you things will change for you. Because abundance is breath. Breath is life. You can't get more abundant than that. Right? Like, just start there. Money is just an external reflection of the energy that we feel inside of us. And it don't matter how much you have, but what kind of energy is attached to it? Who is in your life only to feed off of you and your energy? We have to cut those cords. And if you're too afraid to cut the cords, just release it to the universe and say, you know what? I'm too afraid to cut the cords. So anybody that's in my life and is not serving me for my highest purpose, I release it. I don't want to hold on to things anymore that hurt me. I don't want to hold on to people anymore who can't see me in my divinity. So your IDIVINITY, that's coined as the higher self. That's a divine aspect of you. There's no human on this planet that don't have a flaw. We all have flaws. We all have things that we wish we could change. We all have made mistakes. But what if I told you it was no such thing as making a bad decision? Could you believe that? What if every decision you ever thought was a bad decision was the best decision that you ever made? Because it made you who you are now. You wouldn't even be watching me right now unless you were drawn to the energy. Because this is inside of you. This motivation and inspiration is inside of you. See, people don't connect with me unless the message that I'm sharing is already within them. It might just need a spark, but it's already in you, right? So with the course that we have now, we got 2 separate ways that you could do this, because I do recognize that everybody is not really into occult, which just means hidden wisdom, right? So I have a course. Both courses are kind of customized to fit depending on where you are. And in the 3D Matrix course, I walk you through seeing through the illusions so that you can have the breakthroughs come effortlessly. Effortlessly. It is truly possible for you to effortlessly manifest. This is what people don't tell people, because a lot of us have people in our lives who are afraid for us to do better than them. And that's not a put down to them either, because that's from some conditioning, and maybe they have some abandonment wounds, and I don't want to be left alone. You know? So focus on what you can control. And in the course, that is what I'm teaching you to do. I walk you through grieving, because as you release relationships, careers, maybe start making some decisions, You're gonna experience the ending of certain chapters, and sometimes that requires you to actually feel the emotion, grieve, so that you can pass through it. 444 Ashe is 444 here. Look how that worked out, right? So once you have a system that's supporting you, you don't even need nobody to believe in you no more. That was the major hack. I thought that I needed people to believe in me, and that was the only way that I could do what I came here to do. And I would ask everybody's advice, and I wouldn't even check in with myself. The shit was like pure insanity. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit myself to this every day. And I showed up with my partner every week for 2 years for free, going through everything that's in our course, allowing the world to see the way it was impacting us. That takes courage, because I don't know anybody else who had ever done it. And if you are ready to start shedding, this is the best time of the year to start shedding that stuff, right? And if you're ready, you can do the 3D matrix detox, and you can also camp out, where every day you go hear my voice. Every day every day you will hear me just talking to you from the same heart space that I'm sharing with you now, giving you inspiration, motivation, direction, and things to focus on, exercises to do. And I strive to create simple things, because if it's over complex for those of us who do have trauma and trauma brain, complex PTSD, narcissistic abuse, domestic abuse, I mean, so many different forms of trauma. And it could be minor stuff. It don't have to be huge traumatic events, right? If it's not simple, a lot of times we'll give up, and people won't see the outcome of doing the work because they gave up. So my goal is to simplify things, which is why I spent so many years studying herbs, becoming an herbalist, so that I would be able to create elixirs and potions to support people on the journey, right? And this was before I knew that I had shamanism in my heritage. I didn't even know. All I knew, my heart was drawn to Mother Earth and what she created for us to be better, to heal us. I was so drawn to it, I couldn't ignore it. So, you'll get discounts on products. And I'm not gonna lie, what I do on this scale, it does require a lot of discipline. And there are days where I am so exhausted, I want to quit. But the passion inside of me is more powerful than the exhaustion. So I still take care of myself, and I take breaks. Because as someone who is a student of life, if I'm not taking care of myself and not finding the work home life balance, then that energy is attached to what I do, and you will experience that as well. And that's one of the biggest issues that I see happening right now, because the most powerful people on the planet feel the most inferior. The fuck? The system is set up to make powerful people perceive themselves to be powerless. The system of supremacy and caste systems and socioeconomic statuses, that all of that is an illusion. That has nothing to do with how powerful of a being you are. You are a whole motherfucking soul. You are not just a human with an identity. Pay attention to the word. Identity. So you a dented entity. So you're wounded. And if you identify with those things, then you will forever feel powerless and wounded. And so what's happening right now is fear is spreading like a disease, and fear shows up in many forms, especially anger, especially triggers. And it is a disease. There's a movie created by Mel Gibson, I think, and it's called Apocalypto. And in the beginning of the movie, the father turns around to the son because there are these invaders in their tribe. And the son has fear struck in him because of what he's seeing happening. The way that how savagely they are murdering them. And the father turned around and told him, son, don't allow that energy to attach to you. It's an illness. It's a disease. And that will ultimately be your destruction. And everything in this society, in this social construct right now is using fear to navigate people who are unaware and don't know how to navigate themselves. There are a lot of leaders who are supposed to be leaders, and they're not leading because they think they need people to support them. They think that they need startup money, when actually they just need to be grateful for what they have and work with what they have. We started our business with $0, working every week for free. Like, that shit is either crazy or passionate. I think it's both. Because crazy people know that they can change the world. Right? Sane people don't know that they can change the world. It's the crazy people that can dream big enough to say, I can change the fucking world. Right? So I want you to go to the website and just look around and see what resonates with you. We're in a winter season for those of us in the United States. For those, if you in Australia, y'all in y'all spring and it's beautiful. But for a lot of us over here, it's not going to be as much sunlight. And a lot of us who are sensitive to energy are more sensitive to depression, anxiety, and things like that. So what better time for you to do something that's going to cultivate you, feed you? And if you happen to be a black woman, a black and brown woman especially, and not to negate anything from any woman of any other race, but I have to speak from my point of upbringing. As black women, we have slaved in the kitchen to cook meals, and you sometimes will get a thank you, but not often. We have worked. We have been nurses, therapists, psychiatrists. We have bled ourselves out to be everything to the people we love, and trying to navigate a patriarchal society at the same time. Black women not angry. They in pain. They tired. And the patriarchy created man boys. So a lot of men in their 40s and 30s and 50s right now are single. They probably got kids who don't want nothing to do with them, right? Because they were following the paradigm shift that was being created for people who wasn't creating their own reality. Anytime you stop creating your reality, you become a victim to the paradigm shift. So whatever that paradigm is, if it's based on fear, you won't even be focused on fear, but fear will be focused on you. And now we are realizing from, if you look at some people's relationships, like Jim Jones. I was watching a clip. Ernest has showed me a clip of Jim Jones having a conversation with his life partner. And, and he's like, where you want to get married? And she's like, look, you just skipped over a whole lot of steps. And this is exactly what this is exactly what has been happening. We've been skipping a whole lot of steps in our relationships. So women, because men grew up with hip hop, weaponizing their minds, bitches, hoes, they ain't shit, gold diggers, right? And then you got religion. Oh, Eve, the one that fucked everybody up. Well, was it Adam? No, Adam is innocent. It was Eve. Oh, okay. So we took on that paradigm shift of blaming the feminine. Then you navigate to the business world. Exact same reflection of energy. To disrespect the feminine and to treat her as if she's not sacred for whatever reason is to disrespect your own self. Because without the feminine, none of us would exist. And this is not subjective, like this is not objective to your mothership that brought you into this world physically. I'm talking about on a collective level. Feminine energy has been exploited, raped, pillaged, used, and blamed. Now, if God, who is a perfect being, capable of doing anything he want to do, why in the hell did he feel like it was okay to not give Adam any accountability in what happened in the Garden of Eden? And I'm using this as an example because I'm not a quote unquote Bible believer. So much in there that I'm not in alignment with, like murdering babies. I'm just not in alignment with that shit. I'm not. A sacrifice is a sacrifice. It don't matter what you call it. That just don't resonate with me. To anybody who will resonate with, I can't judge you. I don't know you. And for a very long time, I believed in the Bible until I started seeing the connections between hip hop, the Bible, the business world, the patriarchy. And I was like, oh shit. We have treated one of the most sacred beings on the planet as trash. And this has been reflected with Mother Earth. And that's why Mother Earth is cutting the fuck up. She like, I'm not taking this shit no more. People go learn how to respect me. Stop polluting. Do your best. Do better. Right? So this is how we're going to be able to leave the world better than it was when we got here. But it's going to start with you becoming the leader that you were always meant to be. And I know you probably would rather have support. I would definitely rather have support. But I don't have no judgment to people who not riding with me right now. Because they on their own journey. And I honor that. That's sacred. So with all of this, we're having chronic fatigue, autoimmune disease, fibroids. I'm just talking about the feminine beings on the planet right now. We're going through it. Because the way we are engineered, we're engineered to be a reservoir for life. Which means we can also be a reservoir for death. Everything goes both ways. This is a planet of duality and polarity. That's changing, but that's what it's been. So anyone who has the ability to heal also has the ability to kill. Anyone who has the ability to carry life also has the ability to carry death. And a lot of us have carried death energy from the men that we have allowed to enter into our womb space. From unawakened men. And men now emotionally... Hey, baby, close the door. Grandma doing a video. Yeah. Uh-huh. Grandma doing a video. I'll be finished in a minute. But men on the planet, men have not been able to sustain relationships because a lot of them don't have the emotional quotient to be able to sustain a relationship. A lot of men think that a successful man is just being able to provide and go to work, because that was the paradigm. That was the program the collective was given. That was the depiction. Think about the TV show Love and Marriage. I know I might be dating myself right now, but it is what it is. I'm 43 and I'm motherfucking proud. But he would go to work. But when he got home, he didn't do nothing else. How much did we see that? So the image of what a divine masculine is supposed to be has also been under attack. So we're feeling the impact of that. We're feeling the impact of not being able to, we're feeling the impact of not being able to be in alignment with life. And as I sit here right now, everything that I share, I'm using myself to work through these things, because as a high priestess, self-initiated, I feel the collective shadow. I feel the repressed suffering. I feel and see the people who are meant to be leaders, but they are being drained of their life force energy by people around them because they are afraid for them to do better or leave them. Like, I feel that. And that was one of the most difficult things about coming into the awakening of who I am on a soul level and what I was put here to do. And I'm still working through that. But you must become your own creator of your reality. Do not live as a thermometer. If you wake up in the morning and you allow the day and whatever happens in that day to dictate how you move through the day, you're a thermometer. And you are not standing in your own power. You're supposed to be a thermostat. You set the tone. You set the mood. You set the temperature. You set the vibe. In any area where you cannot, you remove yourself. Because you know what you're worthy of. And you will refuse to give energy to anything that is less than what you are worth. Once you get this one thing, this one energy lesson, you'll just be different. You won't even really be able to put a finger on it. You will just be like, I feel different. People are like, why are you so happy? Like, you got so many things going on with you. I had a doctor, he was just like, you're smiling. I'm confused. Most of my patients, I don't walk in and they smile. And I was like, I'm thankful to be alive, doc. He was just like, yeah, but I'm looking at what you got going on. I'm like, yeah, it's tough, but I'm grateful. And, and he smiled back at me, and and I felt like that smile was like it was priceless, because he was reflecting back to me the energy that I put out. So I was a thermostat. I didn't let him come in the room and set the tone, right? I set the tone. And the more you do this, abundance will just flow to you. I always knew that I could make money in my sleep. I didn't know how, but the how was none of my business. Spirit was going to handle the how. The divine was going to handle the how. The laws of hermetics and the laws of the universe handled the how. Right? So you just hold on to the dream. Hold on to what make your heart sing. And you nurture that. And I'm telling you, your life will take on the form of the energy that you are cultivating within you. And if you do not like what's in your life, change your perception and the energy that's within you. Only make investments where you know it's beneficial for you. Don't invest your energy, your money, or your time with anything that's not in alignment with your values. It's not in alignment with who you are. And the more you do this, you will attract people, places, and things that are a vibrational match to that level of self-love. That's how you exit the matrix. It's not this huge mystery. And I have studied every spiritual system I could put my hands on, and am still studying every single day to the date. And so much of what comes to me comes straight from the Akashic Library. So I don't really need the external books. But I study and I read because it's beautiful to find something that is ancient, that reflects a message that I was given. And so that's what this full moon energy is about. Connecting to your abundance. The abundance that's inside. All right. So I'm going to slide off here in a moment. But I got a lot going on. Y'all see my phone ringing and stuff. And I got a lot of work to do. But yeah, I have never said she's right so many times watching it live. True. That's so beautiful. Thank you, Enchanted Creator. I'm telling you. And let me say this before I leave. Because why not tell people the hard shit, right? I like for people to give it to me straight. I can work with the truth. A lie, it's nothing I can do with that. If the truth hurts, that's beautiful. It's going to heal me later, right? But the pain from a lie, it creates nothing but more pain, right? So if you look at the world and you see more darkness, and when I say darkness, I mean wickedness, insidiousness, right? That's because you are dimming your light. The more that you increase your internal power source, which is the heart, you create light from the darkness. We are the ones that create the simulation as a collective. I know without a shadow of a doubt that as our community grows, we have a soul tribe of people who are like, I know that I can transcend the trauma and I can transcend my triggers and I can become my divine self. I know the more people that are connected to this field of consciousness, the wickedness that we see, it won't be able to be anchored here anymore because it don't have nobody supporting it. And we see people like Kanye West who are being so courageous to express a truth that's unpopular because we have been mentally enslaved. And so many of us are afraid to express our truth because maybe our truth is something that nobody else around us resonate with. But maybe that's the truth that the world needs for change to happen. The more unique you are, the more authentic you are, the more powerful you are. So it's a journey of figuring out who you are, because all of us have been handed an identity from other people's perceptions. All of us have cloned consciousness where traditions, beliefs, and values and standards were given to us from TV, from all forms of entertainment, our family, our cultural society. Like from every angle, the 3D matrix got something to make sure that you stay running in a hamster wheel, living as a thermometer, not realizing that you are the change that the world needs. I'm not telling you to believe in yourself, because you don't even have to believe in yourself. I know that might sound ironic. You don't have to believe in yourself. When I got up today, I did not believe that I was going to be able to prepare a breakfast, something so simple. But my heart was on fire. My heart wanted to make something that was so delicious and soothing and healthy. So the passion kicked in. And passion is fire energy when you talk about the elements. And that fire energy burned up all of the limitations and the doubts. and I made some bomb ass sweet potato pancakes, all plant-based, no sugar. I'm finna go eat some more now. And it's a perfect example of what I'm saying. What can you create with what you already have in your hands and the breath that you already have in your body? Nobody else can be you better than you. So why would you try to be like anybody else? So check out the course. We're going to be doing a live podcast. We do interactive podcasts now. And that basically means that you get to ask me questions while we're on the podcast. Anything. There's nowhere that I won't go. How fun is that? Right? Somebody that's not afraid to go anywhere. I'm not afraid to go any fucking where. We can go there. If you feel like you can't talk to people in your circle, in your constellation, right? Like, be among people where you can have those conversations. That's going to help you grow. Challenge yourself to come out of your comfort zone. So that live interactive podcast is something that is going on as the courses are happening too. So like I said, I got a lot of projects. I got a lot of pans on the eye right now on the stove. And but I'm so in love with everything that I am, everything that I'm becoming. And if I do not share this love that I have cultivated for myself with other people, it's no point in me even having it. I'm meant to shine. You are meant to shine. We're not meant to dim our light. And the people who are only comfortable with you when you are a doormat and when you are afraid to say no, that's not who you want in your life. You want to attract people who, like, if you're uncomfortable with something, just let me know and I respect that boundary. If you don't really want to do this, just let me know. I won't be upset with you. It is really possible for you to only have people in your life that respect you that much, where they're not going to even put you in a bad position. The days of women being ride or die for men, going to jail and taking charge, all of that shit is over. When the divine feminine pulled up, that shit was over. 2019 was a galactic new year. We are in a whole new age. That's over. We're not doing that no more. We're not doing that no more. We came here to be creators of a whole new reality, anchored in love. Fear is a virus. Fear is a virus, and we all have been impacted by it. But you do not have to allow it to enslave you and imprison you in a life that you know is no longer in alignment with who you are. So if you're ready to take that dive, check the course out. Watch the intro video. You know, I'm so vulnerable and open and real. Sometimes I question my own sanity. But questioning your sanity is a process in becoming your authentic self. Because you don't really quite know everything. You are a student of life. So insanity, confusion, not being sure, feeling like you big pyramid shit one day and then the next day you don't, that's a part of the journey. Right? But just embracing the journey and embracing it all, it's all beautiful. It's all beautiful. And if the trauma that I experienced led me to where I am now, can't you just feel and see that there is no limit for you? Nothing can stop you except you. So retain your power. And if you don't go to the website, check out the courses, the podcasts, that's fine too. I'll be here. I'll be back unless I get put in digital jail again, because that just happened. That's why y'all hadn't seen me for a while. I was like, what? I did a heart chakra video and they was like, you violated community guidelines. And I was like, okay, but we know how the matrix works, right? And people who really giving you the real soul food, they don't get the airtime like a lot of other people do. But that's changing as well, because I command the motherfucking air. I will get my airtime, and I will continue to inspire people, motivate people to see that there is a version of me that I haven't even met yet. And in my insanity, and in my courage, and in my boldness to be brazen, to speak my truth, live my truth, to not be afraid of people walking out of my life. I will find my divine self. That's how you maintain your power. So the destruction that we see, we're creating it in our unconsciousness. And any moment that you spend unconscious, doing things without intention and being mindful, you are creating something. And it's going to reflect that same energy. So bring mindfulness to everything that you do. Bring gratitude to everything that you do. And those two things alone will shift your reality. I'm finna slide off of here, y'all. You loving the expansion? Ashe. I can do this shit all day, forever, ever. But I'm translating a lot of this into music now and art. So there will be more things coming. But I want to make sure that I don't waste not one day on this planet. This is a beautiful planet. I'm grateful to be here and to be part of this awakening. And I hope that you feel the same way. And if you don't, that's okay too. Because I have my days. I have my days. We all have our days. We all have our moments. And there's no shame in that. The only thing that we don't do in our community is shame. Right? Shame and disrespect. Them two things that will not be tolerated. We are only seeking to inspire, to motivate. All right. So I'm going to slide off here, y'all. Y'all late. Just jumping on, but that's all right. Better late than never. It was beautiful. And this is the card that I pulled for the full moon. A bold number represents harvest. Look how happy and joyful she is. Do you really have to have the external shit to be happy? Or can you throw your arms in the air now and be like, I got some motherfucking gangster gratitude? Right? Yeah, that's the harvest right there. Look at that. Joy. Her basket full. But we don't know how long it took for her to fill that basket up. It don't matter how long it takes. Be the change that you want to see in the world. And in the words of Michael Jackson, what better way to end this beautiful, powerful conversation for this Motivational Monday message? I'm starting with the woman in the mirror. Yeah. And I'm asking her to make a change. I think I want to go listen to that song now. But if you want to make a change, it starts with you. Man, your third eye has just been kissed. One love.